say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I won't just say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I thought you knew that anybody can do that.
Puffy, I warn Keepy D to take his ass over there. There's no extradition laws over there. So I'm warning you now, Puffy. Take your ass over there. Reggie Prediction. I know Puffy is smart enough, and he probably done already cleaned his houses. But sexual predators, what do they do? And we'd be like, damn, why? They treat their sex tapes like, yeah, remember that song, Me and My Girlfriend, that Pac did? What he was talking about? What was Pac talking about, y'all? And that, do y'all really know what he was talking about? For those of y'all know what he's talking about, he's talking about a gun, but sexual predators is what hold on to their tapes. And cops know that. So I wouldn't be surprised if some storages or some of Puffy properties be getting raided real soon, because they need to get to those tapes. They get one of those tapes with him with those little people that's been making the accusations. Woo!
Okay.
Man.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to the hottest show in the galaxy. That is the voice of Reggie Wright Jr., former general manager of Death Row Records. He predicted last month, I think, that this raid would happen. Well, yesterday, helicopters, handcuffs, pacing, all kinds of manner of disruption. The feds rolled in boats and with machine guns. It was a lot. And it was predictions all along. And it's weird. Only Gene Deal, I remember just saying stuff like 10, 15 years ago, vocally out loud. Nobody really listened to him until now. But now everybody's snitching. Everybody's talking. And just one question, where were you? Full disclosure, I've been covering hip hop. I covered hip hop while I was on the editorial board, while I was also, covering business for the New York Daily News, because I liked the music. So the music director, Jim Farber, never covered it. So he was like, go cover it. And I made an extra $300 to each story. So it was good. Little coin. I get free CDs. I get invited to the concerts and everything. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I actually did pieces on everyone from Faith Evans to Total to, of course, Puffy, Diddy's house, everything. The publicist loved me. And then came the shooting at Club New York. At that time, I was a news columnist. And I got a call from a lawyer who said his client was shot in the face in Club New York and that Diddy had a gun. So I was called that morning by the publicist, whose name I will not mention on these airwaves, primarily because it's irrelevant to the story, but also she's not doing well. So I'm not piling on. It's not about her, but she wanted to invite me to a turkey. It was around the holidays. Puffy was giving out turkeys in Harlem. Will you come and cover it? And I said, sure. That was that morning. That afternoon, I got the call and I'm in the lawyer's office with the lady with the bandaged face who had been shot, detailing everything that happened that night. And it was very clear that Puffy had a gun. I also interviewed the getaway driver who confirmed this. This ran as a front page piece in the New York Daily News. I was excoriated. I also covered the trial, and I was hemmed up in court by several people. One person y'all all know because they've been responsible for now, because they've had a change of heart, I guess, doing documentaries on R. Kelly and other people who are problematic. But I was cornered in the courthouse for this piece that I did. Like, how dare I? For the culture, how dare you try to destroy a black man? I was getting all of that heat, like I'm a sellout. I'm like, if he shot a lady in the face, I'm supposed to ignore that? I'm sorry, this eyewitness. I'm a journalist. So I've never been on the Puffy boat. I've always known that there was something off about him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying that because I've been pretty vocal. Now, I don't want to get sued, so I ain't say too much, but at the end of the day, now here we are, and everything is coming out. When the feds roll in, they pretty much know
Oh yeah.
It's something. They're not just wasting all
Yeah.
the federal dollars for nothing. You know, when the feds roll in, you got a real problem. There was video, TMZ catches everybody, of Puffy at the Miami airport pacing around. Two of his children got hemmed up and handcuffed yesterday. I'm not laughing because it's really not funny, but I'm wondering what is their role in it. They're grown men, by the way. They're not children. All of them are over the age of 20. I think the youngest one is 25. I think Justin is 30. You know, these are grown men. I don't know what was going on at this house that the feds rolled up. They also got somebody at an airport, apparently a drug trafficker, also 25-year-old man who was recently accusing Sean Combs of sexual impropriety. He's been arrested as a quote unquote drug mule on Monday. Cocaine, marijuana possession charges, arrest records obtained by Rolling Stone. His name is Brendan Paul, taken into custody at Miami-Dade. Dozens of Homeland Security agents. This is serious. Okay. Homeland Security. They seized stuff at his Miami home, his Los Angeles home, as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation led by Homeland Security. This is not unserious. Thoughts and prayers, ladies. We are joined by Dr. Caretha Mitchell. Of course, Kyla Janae Lacey is here as well.
The first thing I have to say is this is a perfect example of how American culture will teach you, if you don't know how to question the lessons you're getting, American culture will teach you that the point of power is to dominate. The point of power is to be able to dictate what happens in other people's lives. It is not to make more opportunity and more life and more liberation for other people. And so in so many ways, this is an example of someone who is following in the footsteps of our so-called founding fathers of the United States, who were sexual predators.
I think what was interesting, what you said, is terms of like the courtroom and how like, oh, you know, you're trying to bring another Black man down. And I think it's like really interesting how we're groomed to protect people who go out of their way to harm us, right? Like who've done very, very awful things, but because they're Black men, we're supposed to, you know, allow it or just ignore it, even especially if it harms us. That's what I don't understand.
You said something powerful on Twitter, Kyla Janae Lacey, yesterday, that there's a lot of obsession over Diddy's sexuality and you know, coming down on him for being, you know, gay or whatever. And no, Diddy was trending at some point today and yesterday, but there's no outrage over on the predatory way in which he has allegedly done all these things to women, to Black women, to women. There's no outrage over that. It's just over him potentially being gay. That's the problem.
That's par for the course, right? We're supposed to accept that. Like, you know, we don't have autonomy. So it's okay to violate women. Like, I mean, it's even in, you know, religion doesn't always, you know, have consent in it, right? So it's like very much so socialized that consent is negotiable. And again, like, you know, but for men should have the power to say no. And so that's the difference.
Yeah.
I want to talk.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
The only thing I was going to add is that, you know, for me, I'm always interested in us also noticing the larger framework. And so part of what's so powerful to me, Kyla, about your pinpointing how much we are conditioned to protect predators is because that is why I make the link to the so-called founding fathers. Look at all of the mythology that none of us can avoid having around the so-called founding fathers, who were mostly enslavers and certainly child predators, Thomas Jefferson being a perfect example. So I just want us to notice how if you don't question American discourses and practices, you will find yourself believing that you have made it as a Puff Diddy. You have made it. Your real success is when you can mirror these so-called founding fathers. So as Karen says, we're never just talking about the individual. We're talking about the larger framework that if we're not careful, we will internalize.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, and this is for everyone. The number here is 866-801-8255. How large is sex trafficking in this country? How large an industry do you believe sex? And we don't talk about it daily, right? But how prevalent is it?
Extreme. My brother was sitting on a plane next to somebody, and I'm pretty sure what he described was like it was a young Black woman, and she was with an older white male, and she was just crying her eyes out and talking about like she missing her family and not seeing them again, to the point where he had to alert the stewardess. And the guy was just like, my brother said the guy was like very stoic, but she was having a breakdown, and it was like, that doesn't sound on the up and up.
Karen, the prevalence of it, I think, is so great that it disturbs us to even face it. I will tell you that one of the most haunting memories I have is I was running in a park not far from my house, and I saw a little Black girl. If I had to guess, I would say she was 7, and she was with an older white man. And I have never been able to get out of my head that even though there was nothing clear that I could have accused him of, I've never been able to get out of my head that that's probably what I witnessed, Karen. And so then the more I think about and study Harriet Jacobs' incidents in the life of a slave girl, and it forces me to make connections to #MeToo, it haunts me, that little girl's face, because I have no way of going back to do anything about it, but that face is with me every day. And I think that as I've heard you interview people on this show, Karen, who are doing the work about trying to give young girls who are trafficked the power and the networks to get out if they can, it haunts me to this day. And I think you're right. It is bigger than we can even imagine.
And there seems to be a crossover between drugs and the sex, because you have to I just to think about even allegedly Kanye West's wife does not look like she is not, under the influence of something. And I wonder, I have questions because even her father is upset. Like it's, if you can drug somebody, then they have no consent or control, right? Here are some facts. It's estimated that between 15,000 and 50,000 women and children are forced into sexual slavery every single year in this country. I'm sure those numbers are less. Department of Health and Human Services estimated the number between 240,000 and 325,000 people are put into this position. Sex trafficking has grown exponentially since the dominance of the internet and porn online. Victims are either used for pornographic pictures or videos, or prostituted out through online platforms. No longer are pimps on the street corners. Now the biggest place for trafficking human beings is in hotels. From 2019, there was a big story, a big expose done. Hotel brands owned by Hilton, Intercontinental, Best Western are among a number of leading global chains accused of profiting from sex trafficking. Y'all don't even understand when you check into a hotel what's actually going on in there. And, to blame the hotel, maybe we should. I don't know. Shouldn't they vet the people that come in? Shouldn't they? Don't they see what's happening there? There's a landmark lawsuit that was filed in 2019 on behalf of 13 women accusing a dozen hotel chains of willfully ignoring sexual exploitation taking place on their premises. This is from Columbus, Ohio, to Georgia, to Massachusetts, New York, Ohio, and Texas. An estimated 80% of all human trafficking arrests occur in and around hotels. So it's right in front of our eyes is the point, and it's very prevalent.
I won't just say yes. I need you to do more and say less. I won't just say yes.